And we're live.
And we are, excuse me, we are a port, excuse no, and we are VWP Violent Wrestling Podcast back at you again from last night. We still have a whole lot to talk about since we spent the entire night last night talking about John Moxley and AEW. So tonight we're gonna try to get in some WWE. Um, and then my namesake, Mr. Moxley, did a podcast with Jericho, and that's some fascinating stuff came out of that. Anyway, I'm Mox, as always, with me, co-host Ambrose Alley,
Hello, nurse.
and Mister's supposed to be here because we know you're off, but he hasn't made it yet, so he'll be here soon. Metamat will be joining us shortly, hopefully. And as always, the Liv, no, you're the Sarah of the our little side trio of the squad, Mr. Adam Rice.
John Moxley, you're screwing our podcast up.
We so desperately wanted to cover everything, and here he goes. Like, well, we wanted to talk about something else, kind of. Like, I'm sure, like AA and I don't mind talking about Moxley as much as possible, but like, you could have like waited so we can at least cover some other promotions.
Yeah, this one, it pretty much hit overnight. And
I don't
by
even
the,
get to ask how you guys' day was went or anything. Like,
well,
damn.
you know how my day went. It worked and it's hot outside.
I mean, just buy me dinner first. Damn.
Well, it depends on what's going to happen after dinner.
Sir,
And depending on what's happening, influences the
sir,
kind of dinner
sir,
you're getting.
sir. I'm a cheap four. I'll take a dollar burger off McDonald's dollar menu.
You value meal whore.
Yes, I'm, I'm inexpensive. For those that didn't get that reference
I
about,
almost, I almost
shut up,
went in
shut
on
up,
that. I almost went
sir,
in on.
sir. Phrasing, sir,
So there are children probably listening.
sir. Oh, well, where's Zeb? Is Zeb listening?
Allie,
Oh.
how was your day?
It was busy of packing and getting ready to head out tomorrow morning to go to Arkansas,
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
You got that? That's probably every bit of a what 12-hour drive.
It's close to 15.
Okay, that's what I thought. I almost said 15, but I'm an idiot. Um. So Mox,
Before we get into the Moxley interview, um, because there might be some people like with their head tilted, like, who's he saying? Sarah, Adam. Um, there's another friend of there's we're all friends, but there's three of us that are like very specifically dedicated to the Riot Squad. There's me, there's Rice, and then there's a friend of ours, faithful listener, friend, one of my best friends also in the world. We call him Des Moines. I call him Matt. Matt Des Moines, and we are like religiously obsessed with the Riot Squad. And somebody today, in a forum, um, because Rice and Matt were before I came into the forum were upset about again another week with no squad on the TV. I said Rice, Matt, me, group hug, and somebody posed the question, okay, if you guys are the squad, who's who? And by then, Rice and Matt weren't there, so I took it upon myself to try to come up with an answer, and I made myself Ruby,
of course
not
you did.
because I'm the leader, just a little bit of the older yet still fun, and doesn't take shit from anyone. Made you Sarah, and made Matt live, with other explanations of to why I made everybody. But it's a fun experiment when you do that, not just with wrestling, but like
Hmm.
We've done it with like Golden Girls, like who's who in the cast.
Right.
But nobody's ever asked as much love as we've shown the Rat Squad. Nobody's ever asked, okay, who's who? And so this weekend we're gonna have to the three of us sit down and figure out. And the person that
I'm
asked,
pouting.
oh, uh, you you can be um I was gonna say you can be our Vince, but no thanks. Like then that'd make you the asshole that keeps us off TV. Um, but
Okay, I
you
can't.
you
I don't know
you
where to go with that.
you will always be our Meg. You will always be our Meg.
I always be Meg, huh?
Yeah, you remember
Okay.
that, don't you? When we
Yes,
went
I
through,
do.
okay, Family Guy, and I just you. What about me? I said, "Shut up, Meg," and you've been Meg ever since.
Before we
Good
actually
time.
get into the
Uh,
Moxley conversation, I do want to do a quick PSA. Um, one that I know everyone knows, and we this isn't something. I'm not doing this out of the blue for any specific reason. But today, uh, Rachel Ellering was involved in a car accident with a drunk driver. She is fine. I want to get that out of the way. She's fine. But again, just, just want to throw it out there. Don't drink and drive.
nope,
Don't
it's
be
not worth it.
stupid. It just really isn't. Uh, Thankfully, Rachel's okay and was able to get the plates and the
Chase
picture of
this
the
dude down.
on
Ch-
foot.
Chased him down on foot to get the license plate and a picture of him after getting hit, after having an accident. That's
So,
you have a lot of Paul in you, Rachel. You have a lot
yeah,
of Paul.
uh, if it was her father, he would have chased him down and
Yeah.
pulled the guy out of the car.
Say my name, bitch. Say my name.
Yeah. So just be smart. Don't drink and drive. I know everyone knows that, but speaking for someone who has unfortunately done it in the past, and I'm not above saying I haven't because I have. It's stupid.
No,
Don't do it.
when I was
Uh,
younger, I have actually have been popped in for DWI when I was 19. But I learned my lesson quickly. As you guys know, I do like partaking in my beer and such. But I won't drive at all anymore. I won't have if I have more than half a beer, like I won't even think about. Nope, not doing it.
so, Mox, why don't you lead us into this John Moxley interview?
So, and this was actually done before Double or
Double or
Nothing.
nothing.
Um, Chris Jericho sits down with Jonathan Good, aka John Moxley, FKA Dean Ambrose,
At his
at
house.
Dean's house, at John Moxley's house.
Hmm.
Um, and they just have a nice little, no big deal chit chat about Jonathan Good and what the WWE, what prompted him leaving the WWE, some fascinating little tidbits about, for instance, not getting into it quite yet, just to throw something out there that, because it was reported that WWE had thrown this fat contract his way for him to resign, and supposedly all the different journalists that don't subscribe to me because I know what's up. Excuse me.
Cheap plug.
That it, yeah, that it was supposed, seven figures and all this insane amount of money. And according from the man himself, he didn't even look at the contract. That's the kind of shoot promo or shoot interview this was. He flat out said it. I didn't even look at the contract. He wanted nothing to do with WWE.
Before we get into the juicy stuff, let's start
Okay.
off where he started off.
Uh, that was a
Um,
very quick
yeah.
thing I could get out there to let you know. Like he said some stuff. So you guys, if you haven't heard the interview, your ears perked up. Pay attention because he goes in a lot. Let's say that.
Moxley led off the interview with Chris Jericho, saying he was thankful for his time in WWE, and didn't really have a bad word to say about a lot of the people he worked with.
Yeah.
He was generally positive about, up until the end, he was generally positive about his experience with some of the things going on in the company. He understood that he's not in the position he's in today without the WWE, and he made sure to mention that. And then
Right.
literally
It
his
wasn't a full hour and a half of I hate WWE. WWE sucks. It wasn't.
no,
Um.
but it was about an hour and 10 minutes of that.
Well. Um.
Um,
But
it
he did give props for.
do.
Yeah.
He then basically say, "Okay, now we'll get to the part where we bury you for the next hour." And I'm just going to go over. I have some of the basic notes and quotes in front of me. But go listen to this for yourself, everybody. Sit down, listen to the interview. It's worth listening to because this
It's
is
the
probably
Talk is
the
Jericho
most.
podcast, by the way, for those
Yes,
looking.
this is the most
Don't do
significant
it right
shoot.
now. Listen to us break it down and then go
Right,
listen to it. Like, listen to us
right,
first.
right. Right, please. This is the most significant shoot interview from someone on that level of the company who's left since CM Punk.
Yeah, this had a without some of the digs CM took. This had a very CM Punk sits down with Colt Cabana feel to it.
Oh yeah, but Punk seemed to want to get retribution in his interview. Um,
Yeah, um,
Moxley
that's
basically
what I.
said this was my experience.
Yeah, where that's what I was trying to say. Where Punk was more of a combative attacking approach, where Mox just told his side of how he felt, why he felt it, how things went down on his side.
So I'm just gonna go over a few things here off
He
the
did
top.
not call Ryback an idiot, or he did not bring doctors into it with Z packs or any like that. Did not
Didn't
happen.
really even mention Hunter like CM
Nope,
Punk did.
nope.
Didn't
Um,
didn't mention Stephanie really. Mentioned Vince a lot. But of course, that's probably what people are going to listen to this for. Hear Moxley bury Vince, and he does. Let's not go get a beat around that particular bush. John Moxley in this interview goes in on Vince McMahon.
um, tech, yeah, because when you think creative, you think Vince, but it was more of a creatively group thing than just saying Vince sucks, Vince sucks, Vince sucks, Vince sucks.
Well, but he kind of did. Whenever he mentioned creative, he made sure to mention, Vince was the one giving him stuff.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, he
It
does
was
that a few
it.
times.
But let's get into this a little bit. Quick notes to lead off the top here. He cited frustrations with the WWE writing team. He knew he wanted to leave in July of 2018.
Yes. This is
Specifically,
pre-injury.
pre-injury. Um, Specifically, he knew he wasn't coming back when he had to do that stupid inoculation backstage segment, which we
Yes.
all knew was dumb at the time. Everyone panned it as dumb. That's when Dean Ambrose, John Moxley knew he was out.
Yeah.
Um, like a lot of us, had problems with the company using Roman Reigns' leukemia as a heat magnet. Even confronted Vince about it. Mox said that Vince told him to use those words about Roman Reigns of his leukemia in that particular promo. He went on to say Vince wanted him to say something worse, and
That would quote unquote lose sponsors
Mox knew he would have probably led him to getting fired.
because he would
So
be the scapegoat.
yes,
He's the one that said it on air. It could have been Vince's idea or anybody else's idea backstage. But if Jonathan Good actually was the one that said it, he was going to be the scapegoat to take the fall of, no, we're going to keep our sponsors. We're just going to get rid of you.
right.
You're the problem.
Again, we bitched about it at the time, and I'll
Yes.
say it again here as a reminder: the company should have never, ever, ever used Roman Reigns' cancer as a
No.
way to advance a story. Ever. It speaks to the company that they did that, and it doesn't make them look good. It
No.
could never make them look good.
It was, yeah.
Like Mox said, our Mox said, um,
Oh, I'm you guys' mocks. Oh,
on a preliminary basis, he didn't
sure.
even he didn't look at the contract that WWE offered him. He said, "It doesn't matter how many zeros you put at the end of it. I'm not signing it."
And that, to me, that is one of the most, if not the most, most single stick out piece from this entire. You don't even want to see how it's so bad, or you're so unhappy or so steadfast. There's all the different ways you can phrase it. You're so set in stone, you're leaving, or you're so dissatisfied, or you're so this or that, that you don't even look to see. That lets you know two things right there. Jonathan Good is a stand-up dude. It's not about money, and
And yeah,
he was that unhappy with a whole bunch of things in the situation where he didn't sell out for money. He wanted to be out. He wanted to, whether that's to wrestle at AEW or if he was planning on taking time off, that doesn't matter. The money wasn't going to make a difference to him.
he specifically said if there were no other wrestling company besides WWE, he still would have left.
Yeah.
This man was unhappy.
Yes.
He hated going to work on Mondays. He basically said he dreaded it. He Googled, searched WebMD for
Yes.
depression.
Yeah. Specifically work depression, or I forget the. Um,
Um,
but yeah, you're just you. We can say depression, but there was a. I think he said work depression of
he
the dreading of going into work and being in that environment.
he basically he dreaded having to work with these right. I don't have exact quotes in front of me, and I wish I did, but I probably
Oh,
could have.
you would have told me I could have. Because
Um,
right at the moment I can't think of, but I could have pulled up some direct quotes. While you're, AA, what do you
Yeah.
think of? Yes, Cassie, you got to be good.
She's good. Cassie's always behaves.
Was
I
it
think,
Savannah?
I mean,
I
with
was gonna go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna ask specifically. I mean, you can say whatever your thoughts so far in general, but I was gonna ask specifically about Jonathan Good, not even looking at the contract extension offer. So he claims, like, and you have to take people at face value, and these are his words. This isn't some journalist saying, "Oh, he didn't." He said he did not even look at the contract extension they offered him. What are your thoughts on that
I think
and everything else so far?
that he's like a lot of people that yeah, w- it's it's not a when it's work to go to work, then that's when you got to. stop and figure out, is this what I really want to do? He loves wrestling. He just wanted he just didn't like being reined in as much.
I hear a chair. That means one thing.
I see that we
But
started early again.
actually, we started an hour late waiting on you.
It's not 9 p.m., sir.
We don't go 9 p.m. on Wednesdays.
It is where I am.
Well, we're talking Central Time.
I
It's
know.
not. It's anyway. What up, Matt?
I mean, we did start early, apparently. I guess we were wanting to speed through this podcast.
Oh my God!
Speed.
No, mute
How
him!
fast
Mute
will it
him! Mute
go?
him! Mute him! He doesn't get a link anymore. He doesn't get a link, and you're grounded for the next 3 podcasts. Dang it, Matt! Dang it!
But with
Well, from
and
now
Matt,
on, when you get the link, I guess you need to write this down. Take a little note to
Mute him!
remind you in
I'm
case you
gonna
didn't
commit
know.
seppuku on air.
I'm gonna please, 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 please,
Um,
please.
Matt, Matt,
I
we're
mean, I
just
did see that MLW is coming to Dallas, Texas.
Oh fuck
Dallas,
no!
Texas.
Fuck no!
Isn't
Fuck
that
no!
where
God.
we always said we would like to try? Never did, so maybe that's why you're on every highway.
I am literally walking around my front yard to cool off steam. I promise you, I'm walking around the RAV like doing laps so I don't lose my shit.
Matt. We are just going over the John Moxley bombshell shoot interview on Talk Who's Jericho. Um, it
Yeah, we already covered everything WWE, MLW, Rocky Mountain Pro.
right,
You missed
right.
all that. You missed all that.
Yeah, bullshit. This I'm gonna give you a little bit of what John was going through creatively, the
Oh, I heard the
process.
podcast already.
Okay, good. Um,
What do you say?
he's already
It was
listened to the podcast.
it was both enlightening and depressing at the same time.
Yeah, that's about the best way to describe it.
Like it just about broke me when he said like I don't care about WWE anymore.
He he said in the podcast, "I love wrestling is my first love, other than my wife. Wrestling is my only love, other than my wife." This is a guy who clearly puts the business in front of the money. Like he said in the interview, if there were no other company other than WWE, he still would have left. He would have started his own company, trained them, wrestled them, got them over because that's who he is. Um, this is
Hey,
the
were you before squeaky chairs over there showed up? I'm just gonna start calling you Squeaks.
Squeaky. Hey, Squeaky.
What up, Squeaks? Um, did you have any other thoughts as far as what we covered? I think you were like mid sentence when I heard the chair, and
And nope, it's pretty much Matt said it better than I was trying to say it.
That
rude
happens
ass
here a lot.
interrupting.
Let
How dare
me.
you just join a podcast mid podcast, sir?
I'm gonna give you guys a quick little quote here from the interview. Um, then this is Moxley talking about the creative process when he gets to Raw on a given day. They hand me these scripts, and to my eye, all the things are the that are on these scripts. They're typical WWE scripts. It's a bunch of words, bunch of big words, a bunch of goofy words. None of it makes any sense to me. We're not telling any kind of tangible story. We're not doing anything to get any kind of characters over, or nothing that makes any sense to me. So typical. And that's just a little piece.
That's one of the things I was bringing up earlier, where he doesn't say Vince during that part. It's more the creative, but we all know Vince is the final say, and it was a shot at Vince without saying Vince. It was a shot at Vince and all creative.
Um, Another part quote: "The things that catches my eye the most is a joke about a pooper scooper. I'm gonna let that hang in the air for a minute. I'm gonna let you really absorb it, and then I'm gonna say it again. Pooper scooper. Like something along the lines that I won't come out there without a pooper scooper. I'm like, quote, I'm not saying that, so let's change it, unquote. So I'm like, did Vince write this? We don't know who wrote it, so Vince.
Yeah.
And then this is how he breaks it down. Here's how the creative process works in WWE. It doesn't really make any sense. I still don't know how it works, but so now it's like, okay, Vince is in a meeting, so we have to try and rewrite it, send it in to Ed Koskey. For those who don't know who Ed Koskey is, he is a
Wasn't he
long.
the judge on People's Court?
That's no,
Dude, Matt has corrupted us all. That was Ed Cole, but that's neither here nor there.
right. Ed Koskey is a
What?
long time member.
You
Too late.
corrupted us, Matt.
How did I do that?
Everybody's trying to get the
You
jokes
know
in.
how.
Yeah, the jokes in before you get them in.
Ed Koskey's a longtime member of the WWE executive team. He's one of Vince's guys. Everyone's heard of Kevin Dunn. Maybe not everyone's heard of Ed Koskey. Koskey's been around for a minute, and he is one of the principal go-to guys on when it comes to scripts and creative.
Doesn't he
So
actually have like one of the highest titles in the company too?
yes, he does. I don't know officially what his title is.
I know there's Barrios, co-president. But Koski has not just like he's a writer. He has a very um I want to say, isn't Koski a member of the board or was?
Ed Koskey. Um, I don't know why that's okay. That's funny. Ed Koskey's title, according to LinkedIn, um,
Seriously?
it's on LinkedIn. Vice President of Creative Writing.
Okay.
So he's pretty much one of the last stops between the people, the workers, and Vince. Ed Koskey, um, Vince is in a meeting. So we have to try and rewrite it, send it into Koski, have it reprinted, and put it in front of Vince without the pooper scooper line. Because if he sees it, he's going to fall in love with it. And this is why I need to take a side note. Vince loves potty humor. Always has loved potty humor. He thinks it's funny. He thinks it's clever. He's also a 70-year-old man, so that speaks a lot to what we're dealing with here.
73,
Um,
74.
73. Yes.
Matt, give us off the top of your head a good potty joke. Come on, Matt. Becky could do it off the top of her head. Come on. Come on, Matt.
Please don't make him do this.
I'm just.
I don't know. I
Oh.
really don't know, to be honest. I'm kind of flushed on ideas, to be honest.
That means you're full of ideas, sir.
So he writes something along the lines that we're in LA. He tries to insult the content of the character of the crowd more so than their actual smell. He says something along the lines of OLA's shallow trash. I wouldn't come out here with a gas mask without a gas mask or something. Uh, Basically, there is no interaction between the worker and Vince. What do you want me to say? Unless you get pissed, which is what Moxley says happened here, and several times went, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, and confronted Vince. Mainly about the Roman, that line that we still don't know what it is. That he says he confronted Vince and said, "I'm not saying that."
And so he tells how basically him and the team he's working with, the writers, the whoever's he's trying to work with to get through this promo about this particular Pooper Scooper line, are trying to get rid of it because they don't want to look any more foolish than they have to. And
Good luck with that, pal.
exactly. And Vince said, and Ben, they don't get an update, but they receive notes. And this is famous. Vince is famous for giving the guys notes if they
Yes.
don't like something. Just, this is why you got to do it. Da, 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 da. And in it, he says, notes from VKM. Dean needs to understand why he needs to insult the audience. Dean needs to read his promos verbatim and not try to rewrite them. Let's pause there and
Good night, everybody.
Mox, please try to unpack that for the audience.
He's in a way just kind of saying, no matter what your idea, were you asking me to see? This is what's getting confusing about all the Mox stuff lately. Like, are people talking to me or are we talking about Mox, like John Moxley? But if you're asking me, what he was basically saying, it, in my interpretation of it, is like it doesn't even matter what was written could have been better. Vince being headstrong and also kind of talking down, in this case, Dean, of the Pooper Scooper thing. We don't know what they rewrote to get the Pooper Scooper out of there, but they could still work the crowd. This seems like
This sounds like, do you remember that promo Dean did in the ring where he had the gas mask on and he looked like
yes,
Discount Bane?
yes,
This is, I think, that promo.
right. But that shit. I was gonna say one final thing on and like you're completely discounting. When I say you, not you, but
You motherfucker.
who, me?
No, I'm being. Just keep going.
Oh, what what if it's Madden headquarters, I just can't right now. It was, wasn't it?
No, I was trying to play off of you weren't saying me when you said you, but I played with
Oh,
that.
oh,
But go, keep going.
oh.
I've stopped you.
Like we're seeing because Dean was very, very top of the totem pole, and where even Dean can't get a point across without it going through channels and getting a post-it note back, you know, and then the post-it note is basically shut up
Read
and do what I tell you to do.
right. Don't stop trying to make it better and read what I told. Say what I told you to say. And Dean basically yells at the guy in front of him. It's not. And Dean says it's not his fault.
He just happened to be there.
He just happened to be the unlucky son of a bitch. And Dean unloaded and basically said, "Why am I here? Why do I work here? I'm a professional wrestler who can tell stories and come up with promos, and I believe I have the ability to talk people into buildings. I learned those skills years ago, and I wanted to bring them here to WWE. And you just want me to say your stupid lines. If you want someone to read your stupid lines, hire an actor. Because they'll probably do a better job of it than me. I'm not interested in doing it."
Hey, where are you at now with so far the quotes and stuff?
Well, it's like I said before. As long as he's happy.
And is this already speaking to you that he wasn't just unhappy, he was miserable
That's
from
that's
last
what I got out of it.
so and this we haven't even ended just so like he was miserable from probably even before July of 2018 He was already probably becoming less and less interested, and then his words, July 18, I knew, like, nope. Um, he was miserable, and they just made it worse post injury.
If his wife wasn't working there, he would have told them "fuck you" in July.
Yeah,
If Renee wasn't there, he would have told them "fuck you" in July. This reads like a man who was ready just to snap. But I don't think he had it in him to snap because they beat it out of him.
yeah, and that happens. I've worked for um, a corporation I'm not going to name the name of. Um, the contract I got offered to quote unquote stay did not have nearly the amount of zeros that Dean probably got offered. But I was offered to stay some because I had been like, I'm not happy, and I had a title that was always it didn't matter what I said. Like, I was always being undermined, and I don't know where I was going with that. But I ended up like, nope, I'm not gonna sign this, and I ended up going to another corporation which treated me really well, and I was happier there, making a little less money. That would be Xerox. I'm not gonna name the first one that I'm throwing under the bus, but went to Xerox.
Enron.
You son of a.
Well, it's not like it wasn't in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood. In the neighborhood.
It's a beautiful day in the
In the neighborhood.
neighborhood. Sorry.
See,
Um,
Matt, this is what I'm talking about. You've got us all either trying to do puns or doing songs off the top of our head.
I mean,
Um,
speaking of puns,
why?
what would you call a fish who only cares about themselves?
a jellyfish?
Shellfish.
Shellfish.
Oh
That's as bad as
God.
my shark jokes.
That's
Oh
as bad
God.
as just no, sir, never.
Yeah.
Um,
Seriously, like, you want to extend your month of groundment, sir? Matt, where are you so far on the what we've discussed in the podcast? And because this was, I think you kind of summed it all up with your initial thing, but just the last few minutes of the quotes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just sum it up. My whole thoughts on the podcast. It's both enlightening and depressing at the same time. Um, I mean, it just sucks. It just sucks that one of my favorite wrestlers at this point in time is not in my favorite wrestling company anymore. It just sucks. And I don't know. It's tough to say because on one hand, obviously, I want him to be happy, but at the same time, there is a part of me that does kind of selfishly want him back in my favorite wrestling company.
You're right.
I don't know.
Is there anything or quick quote or anything that really stood out to you and took you aback of like, oh, any? I mean, it's the whole interview. So, go ahead.
The pitched Roman line. I'm really curious what exactly that was.
yeah, that's sort of been what the hell could he have said? Worse than
Could
what
have
he
been,
did say.
yeah, could have been, and I don't want. Let's not
I'm
step
not going to
aside.
speculate on,
Yeah. Let's
but
because I've had some in my head of because he did say this. What could have been even worse? And it's all morbid shit that.
yeah, and I think that's what it was. If I don't want to speculate any further than that, but I think that's what it was. Um, Ambrose Moxley, Jonathan Good goes on to say he doesn't know why they released his statement on his deciding not to resign with the company. He believes it was just so Vince could control the situation. Sounds like Vince.
We talked about that last night, even before this podcast dropped. I said that Vince was getting ahead of it before he did leave and go to AEW or whatever he was going to do. Vince got ahead of it to,
Control it.
yeah, we're I said
Yeah,
something to the
just
effect last night.
being able to do it in the style of his favorite Janet Jackson album, control its situation.
Good grief.
God almighty.
Control.
I
But
think that gave me an
um,
ulcer.
Vince knew, or at least got a 99% sure feeling he wasn't going to resign. And so Vince kept him on TV as long as possible, even did the Final Shield tribute thing.
Which
So
we'll
that
get
way,
into.
which that way he wasn't off TV for so long. I'm rehashing what I'm saying last night, but what after this dropped later last night, this morning, um, it kind of like verifies what I was saying because even Dean doesn't know why. But I think that's what Vince is thinking of. If I keep him out and exposed as a WWE superstar once he leaves, and if he shows back up somewhere in a couple of weeks, he would have literally still just has been on WWE TV instead of we're going to keep you off TV, and so that way 6 months from now, when you make your double or nothing appearance, it's you haven't you haven't been seen or heard from in 6 months. If I'm what
I think I know what you're
Wheelchair
saying.
out there like that.
what
I'm just put somebody's wheelchair outside like that. About the rain.
I think I get what you're saying. Vince wanted to have that control over the situation. He wanted basically what that's what it boiled down to. He just wanted to be able to get ahead of it and control it. He also said that the stuff he did with Nia Jax, the bumps he took for Nia, he thinks it was kind of meant to devalue him. It was meant to embarrass him. And he said, but let's be clear here, he didn't mean that as a shot at Nia. He was basically saying they did this to make me look foolish. Um,
yeah
What happened when you're working against Nia?
well, that's different. Um,
quick interjection from the actual interview to Thought because he was injured. What are your thoughts on them not, because they do this frequently enough that we know that they do this, adding time to somebody's contract for injury, that they didn't do it with him?
I think that whole thing, he came back, what, late 2017, early 2018 from that injury?
Yeah.
August 2018, I believe.
Okay, so okay, you're right, he came back late 2018 from the staph infection, correct?
Yes.
I think he told them.
But that's what
Because
everybody's, Vince petty this, Vince petty that, WWE petty this. Um, and if he told them, they could have added time.
they could have been, but again, I don't think he would. I think it would have been I'm still not signing. I'll show up and
Oh,
do my job, but I'm not
that's not my
signing.
point. That's not my point. And he doesn't even have to show out. He can do or show up. He can do a Puck. He can do a Neville thing, and literally just sit out his contract. My
Um,
point being that they didn't do it.
I know what you're saying. I think they probably thought that would have been just a waste of time.
Right.
Because
I can see that.
they would have been a law of diminishing returns.
Right. It would have been sunken money.
Right. So
One thing
why
it would
keep?
have guaranteed, he couldn't have been at Double or Nothing.
True, it would have prevented that, but I don't think. But I think that he was already done by that time. We don't know when contract negotiations started. I don't think he mentioned it in the
No.
podcast, Matt or Mox, whichever you guys, either one of you who listened to it. Um, so
Or could it possibly be, and I would say possibly kind of sarcastically, but could it possibly be that Vince, aka WWE, weren't going to be petty in this situation and just, okay, like we get it. They were petty with some of the stuff they did on screen, don't get me wrong, the Nia stuff, and but they were actually, for the most part, like, not petty is extending a contract just to extend it, costing the company money, even though, like you say, diminished returns, because like he could have just sat out. Um,
I think,
am I
I think I
like
understand what you're saying.
maybe WWE
I mean,
wasn't such a
it does
bad
kind
guy
of
at the
surprise
end?
me. It
What was
does
it?
kind of surprise me that W wasn't quite petty, considering that this was Dean Ambrose's last dance.
I
We
I see what
Yes,
he did there
he
now.
just did a Tom Petty Last Dance use.
I quit.
Yep. We just all Dean Ambrose. We just all Dean Ambrose.
And Mox, you brought up one of the biggest stories out of this interview just a second ago. The network special, Shield, Last
Yes.
Stand. Dean Ambrose said he was only paid $500 for that.
He also, in that same sentence, he said that's what they pay extras. That did he? I can't remember off the top of my head. Did he say don't show up or do show up on TV?
Basically, people who just stand there.
But
Uh,
okay, but on camera. Okay.
yeah, I believe so.
He was paid the same amount that they give extras. And for those that don't
And
know the movie business, surely you people know, but we do, have Zeb and Morris listening. An extra is somebody like in a movie that doesn't have a speaking role. They don't have a name. They're just somebody, like say a scene, and the characters are walking down the street, and they need other characters to have people in the street. Those are extras.
I just can't believe poor Zeph. Oh, that's funny. Uh, first of all, folks, there's no way Dean Ambrose's downside guarantee was only $500. So WWE purposely paid him $500. The only way I can read that as a person sitting here at home is that was a fuck you. Thanks for playing along. Here's your last paycheck. Fuck you. See you at the door. Because do you think Roman and Seth only got paid $500? Hell no. That was a fuck you.
Yeah, but this is also a hard question to give a confirmed answer on, because yes, this did air on the network. Not the whole thing. They did um, the segments of this show. This was a house show, like literally a
Yes.
WWE live event.
Yes.
So
And
it's hard to say exactly when it comes to the financials of it all and the payouts of it all, of because that's our wrestling for us. We don't know how. We had a better idea back in the day of how gates worked and stuff like that. Anymore, specifically WWE,
Hmm.
we really don't know.
Well, first off, no one gets paid on gates anymore, like you said.
Right.
That's antiquated. That's dead. That's gone. So there's no way he was getting paid $500 on that gate because I saw that crowd. That wasn't a $500 paycheck. That was more like a $1,500, $2,000 paycheck just
yes.
based on that crowd. So again, that's five. And I think he said he's going to frame it. So Dean knows that's a fuck you. He's not framing it if there's any other.
I really wish, and kudos to Jonathan Good again. I can't. But Matt and AA and I think all four of us have expressed there was some heartbreak in some of the interview of just how
He
things.
sounded like he sounded like someone who was just beaten down
Yeah,
physically and mentally.
but I really wish Jonathan Good would never. Believe it or not, I know the whole lunatic fringe and John Moxley CCW stuff and everything we brought up, and he has had a rough life. Didn't go to college, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but the man's smart. He's a lot smarter than looking at Jonathan Good would lead you on. That goes to the don't read a book by its cover.
Hmm.
Um, because if he would have said something like, "I got paid 500," and in the same match, Roman and Seth got paid this, that would be Pandora's box of
Yeah, but Dean would have been smart enough not to throw his brothers under the bus like that.
or Drew and if he knew how
Drew
much they got,
Lashley and Corbin.
yeah, if he knew how much they got paid.
Yeah,
Or,
which he
or,
probably
or you can
did,
just say, some of the other people on the card got paid this
like the
much.
squad. The squad were on that card. That was their
Yeah.
last ride.
Yes. Which was the highlight of the show. But
Of
that's
course.
neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But
Another
if he
money.
would have just given an example of, and he'd not even naming names, but, and I know, at least one or two people made, this much, but he's too smart and too above that.
So we basically come out of this, and he basically has some comments. Tony says Tony Khan is the opposite of Vince. He's a fan. This is a criticism we've all labeled it lodged at Vince. Vince runs this. Vince, I've said this before. I've gotten shit for it in various places, but I truly believe this. Vince McMahon hates the thing that made him a billionaire, and that's professional wrestling. He hates it. Hates
I
it
don't
to
know.
his core.
I don't know if he hates it as much as he's transitioned into sees it for what it is, and that's a business and making money.
He hates
Uh,
it so much he changed its name to Sports Entertainment.
well,
Sports
there's that.
entertainment, pal. Pronouns, pal. Pronouns.
Shit.
Look at the adjective play. We don't play.
Um, he changed it from pro wrestling to sports entertainment so he could get around the athletic commissions.
Yes.
So they couldn't control what he did. He made sure it was polished and something that different. He's always wanted to be in the entertainment business,
Right.
and to him
The
that
whole
means
we don't do wrestling. We make movies.
that's always been at his core.
Yes, that he wants to be like
He wants to
uh
be Walt Disney.
I was gonna use Disney as a reference. He wants to be
Bob
that.
Iger.
There you go.
He wants to be.
Because he's as far as sports goes, he's no Dick Ebersol or people like that, and he
He's
knows he
no Al
can't be.
Davis.
So he's gonna try to be. the closest thing of kind of sports, but mainly entertainment. So
We
he's
have
going to try to.
athletes, but they put their characters in the televised entertainment that we provide.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that sounds like a man who's in denial. Vince, you're in the wrestling business. I don't know what else to tell you.
Sports
You're in the
entertainment.
wrestling business.
Well, yeah, and you're both right.
So I totally buy the idea he's not a fan of what he's saying. He looks at it differently. We know that. He looks at it. He would never call it wrestling or pro wrestling because he thinks that's beneath him. He thinks that that's lowbrow, beer hall,
Yeah, Southern
Southern. He's always
redneck.
hated the South. He's always
Yeah.
hated the South. Jim Cornette has said as much. He's
Yes.
always hated the South.
Jim
That's
Cornette said it. Jim
ironically.
Ross has said it. Um,
Bruce
shoot,
Pritchard has said it.
Pritchard. Who am I forgetting? Um, Jesse Ventura has said it, but I'm forgetting. Shoot, guys.
I don't know who you're trying to think of, but I want to point out the great irony of that. Where's Vince McMahon from?
Well,
Stamford, Connecticut.
I was about to say he's not from Stanford.
Vince was born in a trailer park in North Carolina.
Woo!
God damn it!
Nicely done. So Vince has
That's why Charlotte gets pushed so much.
Oh God.
That's my home.
Yeah, he would never claim it.
No.
And he hasn't. He doesn't. He's from Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah, right. Birth certificate says otherwise, but he won't.
Right. So this idea of Vince not being a fan, I think, is 100% true. I think this idea of Vince hating professional as the thing he produces is 100% true. Because he has to tell himself and us that it isn't what we know it blatantly is.
And let's not elongate the conversation more
Right.
than we already have over this interview. But a factor, and you keep using the word hated, like the hatred he has. A lot. I can't say a lot. Some of that, in my opinion, has to do with Ted Turner getting into the wrestling business.
Remember, Ted called him.
Yes,
Ted called
that's
him.
why I said wrestling, because that's what
I'm
Ted.
in the wrestling business, Vince.
Yes, and
what did Vince say? You've heard the Vince part of that quote, haven't you?
Yes. Go ahead. You do it better than I do.
Well, that's great, Ted, but I'm in the sports entertainment business.
Yeah.
Have a good. And that's the dichotomy.
And you know that's had it all, even after winning the Monday Night Wars and stuff. You know that still sticks in his craw.
Hell, go even further back.
I mean, that will happen whenever you get a phone call from Captain Planet.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Sweet Lord!
Oh!
Hey, take us home.
Why should I?
Okay, at least take Matt home.
Take it even further back when Vince and Black Saturday happened, when he got the TBS time slot, Georgia Championship Wrestling's time slot, and that didn't pan out. And Crockett had to buy the time slot from Vince, paid $1 million for it. And Crockett said to Vince, "You'll choke on that $1 million."
And what happened?
Vince said to Crockett, "You'll choke on that $1 million," and it was either one way or the other. Someone ended up choking on the $1 million, and it wasn't Vince.
Oh, and this is just fact. Vince always wins.
Vince used that $1 million to fund WrestleMania 1, and the rest was history. But the real fun part of this interview gets to later on
You better not steal what I was going to say.
The video.
I was gonna. It was a 2 second part of the interview at
Go ahead.
towards the very end.
Go ahead.
It's not the video.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys have to remember. We're in Jonathan Good's house. Like he's doing this interview from his house. And mid sentence, Renee Young comes walking by in the room, like walks by, and Jericho just nonchalant. Hey, Renee.
That was pretty funny. It's like, oh shit, okay. Okay,
But
so
and Renee's not her shoe name, but and just it was just such after a very impactful
I think it
and
is.
Renee. Oh yeah,
Renee
Young's not.
Paquette.
Yeah, Young's not her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so and she just comes walking by and he just
Hey Renee.
hey Renee, yeah, just hey Renee. Nothing more, nothing less, just hey Renee.
So the video that basically launched all this, that happened on May 1st. Well, there's an interesting story here.
Not if you tell it.
Motherfucker. Um, John was basically in the mood. He's done. He's out. And so he basically reached out to a guy he met through networking, a guy by the name of Nick Mundo. Nick Mundo, for those who don't know,
Not to be confused with Tella.
right? What? Wow. You proud?
Matt has my brain has like one cell left in it. So it took you a minute, but you finally got the Telemundo reference.
You're the worst. Nick Mundo, I believe, was a wrestler at one point in time,
Yes, he wrestled for a little bit.
but got into production. And basically, they met and they said, "Hey, will you do a video for me?" And he said, "Yeah." Dean rented an $8,000 camera, paid for it out of his own money, to shoot that video we all saw. And the funny part about it is, he got a phone call at 4 a.m. from Vince saying, "Hey, I need you to come in to work on something." And Moxley told him, "No, I'm working on a film project."
Yeah.
So, to me, that's the best story coming out of this. Because it shows, A, his passion. Dropping $8,000 is a lot of money on the camera.
Meh, pocket change.
Okay, billionaire Ted. And it also tells me,
I didn't say how many zeros that check had. I just said it wasn't the same amount of. It could have
Right.
been more,
right,
but
okay,
but then I did confess I turned it down, so I don't
right.
have that money. Anyway.
It also tells us he already had one foot. I mean, we knew he had one foot out the door, but he was actively working on what he was going to do when the other shoe dropped.
Yeah.
He was gone. I mean, he was gone. There was no saving the situation. He was out, and he basically said, "I'm done. I don't care about WWE. I love some of those people up there. I'll always respect them, but I'm done."
He'll be back.
Okay.
In some form or fashion. Whether it's years from now, a Hall of Fame induction or something, he'll be back.
Moxley said he was mentally exhausted from working with Vince. Said he was tempted to walk out on the company during the Rollins feud.
And I that touched home for me because I get that podcasting with you. I get that so much of
what?
I'm mentally exhausted working with you, and I just want to walk out.
Yeah,
Allie,
right.
Allie, are we going to allow this slander to continue?
Well, you give as good as you get.
That's true. He quote, "Once you get over, they turn you into what they want you to be." We've seen that happen. Becky Lynch.
What? What about Becky?
That got his attention.
That Becky got over by herself, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
Becky,
definitely.
and by the end of that build towards Mania, she was acting
Nia
more
Jax got Becky over.
Okay, that's partially true too. Um,
Oh no, it's not. It is not true
It
at all.
partially is. Partially,
It's
but
I did say it sarcastically, but it's not completely wrong.
but
I don't
by
think so
the
at all. I really don't think so.
oh god damn it, guys,
Her
please let me finish this sentence. I promise.
no,
Just let me.
no,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
But
no.
Yes.
what are you, Stewart from Matt TV? There's a reference. Um, by
Well,
the end
hurry up.
of by the end of Becky's main WrestleMania run there, and even now to an extent, we saw some character shifts into how they wanted the man to be presented.
Yeah.
Instead of letting it be totally organic, they had to shift it into something they wanted to see. And this happens with everybody when they get over. So it's not like a thing we're surprised about, but it's still a true statement.
Absolutely. They something gets
Um,
hot and they run it into the fucking ground and they cookie cutter it into what they think the fans actually like, and then we don't like it or we get bored of it or they just make it too stupid.
they
Yeah.
club it like it's a baby seal.
It
They
takes talent for them to. I'm sorry. Were you done with your
I
sentence?
mean, I mean, they
yes.
gotta love the nightlife because they always go clubbing.
Oh god. I was trying to save you from
I
that,
have to
right?
point on the doll where Matt hurt me. Um, he and a couple other things here. Then we'll kind of wrap up this little portion. We've gone over
Little
almost an hour on
portion.
it.
Little portion.
Well, okay. He said things like he would wake up in the middle of the night with a great line for a promo, but knows he will probably never get used. Um, and he basically says Vince's creative process is killing the business. And where I want to take this into a further piece of
What
discussion.
a perfect transition into Raw.
Well,
Because of
actually,
Brock being paid millions of dollars to kill the company.
right. He brought up Brock and said, it's shit like that that's killing the company. Paying Brock all that money so
And
Vince.
another thing I love from the podcast is Jericho and Ambrose saying, "Oh, AEW is not competition. Oh, it's just an alternative." And then at the very freaking end of the podcast, Ambrose says, "This is war.
Well, yeah, this
Which
is
one is it? You gotta choose one."
Pepsi.
Cassie just wanted to make her opinion known.
She
Um,
went after the cat.
well,
hey, Sam Palter there.
the cat's probably a Vince mark. So um, guys, hearing all this about the backstage environment of the
Guys,
company.
guys. Hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys. Hearing all this stuff about the backstage environment of the company from one of the top members of the roster, how are you feeling about WWE now after listening to this interview? And I'm sorry, I hate to go here but I think it bears weight. Sasha Banks is sitting at home. And if you don't think she agrees with some of the things John Moxley said in this interview, you're dreaming. She does.
Uh, uh, John should have just thrown a tantrum in the locker room
Right.
floor. I
Totally.
mean, AA, ladies first. His Rice's questions, or the second one was more of a statement, but his first question, ladies first.
Which was I was trying to
How
break up
are
the fight.
how are you
We all
feeling,
tune them out. Don't worry.
motherfucker? Um, Allie, after listening to John Moxley's interview, what are your feelings about what were the rumored backstage environment we're getting out of WWE?
I think there's a lot of truth to them.
Does it
Yeah.
make you want to since everybody knows that you're every once in a while you'll catch like a pay per view or something, or I know if I call you or something like, hey, Morris wants to watch this pay per view with you, and so every once in a while you'll catch it. But does this make you want to tune back in because they're such a great company, or are you steadfast on your hiatus from?
I'm steadfast on my hiatus from them for now. I
And
I
also,
tried to get back into watching it, but after
Morris
10,
understands.
15 minutes, I can't handle it.
Okay.
um,
And before Matt answers, I want to flip that question. What do you think about Jonathan Good coming out of this interview? John Moxley. What
I think
based
he got a lot of the stress off of his back, being able to get it out. And now he's on, he loves to wrestle, but he's still doing it, but now he's doing it where he's happier.
so you don't think like any less? You don't.
I don't
There's
think any
no.
less. I don't think any less of him. I think a lot of them for doing
Oh,
this.
do you think more of them? I do.
I do.
Okay.
yeah, I do too. Um,
Matt.
yeah, Matt. What coming out of the interview? What are your reactions, and how do you think this is? Does this affect your viewing of the product? Dead air. Dead air.
Dun-dun. We went all night last night without this. Matthew, Becky Lynch, Iconics. Iconics suck. Becky. Becky just lost the belt. You there? Becky no belts. Becky no belts. She lost it on NXT. You there, Matt? Matt.
Says
Matt?
he's still here.
He may have gone off to use the restroom or something.
He's got a dog too. So I'll let you want to go before me, Rice.
Well, the thing is, after this interview, I came away with two things. Well, first of all, I'm glad that he was able to give his perspective in this manner. Um, you can tell it was building up over time, and he had to get this off his chest. Second thing is partially under three things, I guess. Second thing is, I'm
Ohio
sorry,
State grad. He can't count, guys.
stop it. I just have so many thoughts and I want to get them out, but I don't know why I want to do it.
He no word good.
Never. This look, there are a lot of people I love in that company, and you know this. My God, Ruby, Sarah, Liv.
Technically, I don't work for them, so
Well, stop. Ruby, Sarah, Liv. You know, Becky, Bailey. Uh, a lot of my connection to WWE is through the female talent.
I was about to say that's a list of women.
Well, that's
Well, I
because
mean, speaking of Ruby, if she was on SmackDown, would she be Ruby Tuesday?
I quit.
Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday.
You just killed Mox. He's dead. He muted. um, but you know, people like Finn and I do like watching Roman work and other guys in the company. But a lot of my enjoyment does come from the women's wrestling. But um, that's sounding more and more like one of the most stressful, unnecessary working environments I could ever imagine. I, I couldn't imagine working back there under these circumstances. And the third thing is that I wanted to mention, and this is kind of unrelated.
Which
Up
is
till
actually
John,
your fifth thing. But
shut
go
up.
ahead.
Up until John Moxley's interview, I personally was 50-50 on Sasha Banks coming back to WWE. After hearing this interview, it's the first time I've been like, she ain't coming back. Not if that's the environment. Because Sasha
Well, I
loves
want
this
her back.
business.
The only bad part about that is she just resigned like 6 months ago.
And that's going to be the interesting part when all this is said and done. But she is not going back willingly. I will say that. She
Oh,
loves
they're
this.
not gonna, sir.
I'm not saying anything nefarious is going to happen. I'm saying either they're going to say you need to come back, or we'll do this, this, and this, or they'll let her walk away. But this is the first time where I've gone, she's not coming back because the way I've heard her speak before, and she talks about wrestling the same way Jonathan Moxley talked about in this interview. Sasha would do it for free. I'm of the imagination, of the opinion, if that's the environment, I cannot blame a single person for wanting to go. I need to get out. I can't.
uh, Not like you were ever gonna get to me or anything, but
You can talk. Yeah, go ahead.
gee, thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
You're furloughed. Um,
Hurtful.
the to well, oh yeah, because that's a two-party right there. Um, for another reason. Anyway,
Continue.
um, WWE. I come out of this thinking kind of what I thought going in. Nothing really swayed my mind on that point. The the second question of that I asked AA, excuse me, Jonathan Good, I think even more of now, and I get that there's uh, maybe some reasons that we're not quite sure of yet of some of the lines he not told, some of the lines he told. Um, but nothing too shocking from the WWE side. Aside from um, the $500 last paycheck thing, that I want some more information on, but nothing too like I had no idea that this company ran like this, kind of.
Right. There's not a lot of surprises.
But John Moxley handled himself in a very, and AA brought this up, and I will expound upon that. He's had all this pent up frustration,
Hmm.
and to not just take an hour and a half hollering into a microphone of how everything and everybody sucked, and how to not do that completely, and to give points here and there. Um, I'm not taking away from the interview at all. Just
It was more of an interview than it was a shoot. You know what I mean? When people hear shoot interview, they expect all these juicy details about the backstage and who's an asshole, who's fucking who, that kind of thing. And this was more. This was my experience, and let me tell you about it. Um, but I think we might want to move on to something else.
let's talk about something fun.
Shit.
Raw,
Oh god.
WWE Raw.
Was that
That's where you're
fun?
going next.
But you said fun.
No, Mox said fun. I just said you're going to WWE Raw next.
Okay, we can go to Raw because we do need to talk about WWE.
Yeah.
Raw. Matt, would you like to lead us off on the Raw discussion?
No, I can't because I didn't watch Raw. I was working during Raw.
Shit, that's right.
We gave you 2 days, sir.
And I those 2 days getting caught up on MLW. I mean, I know what happened on there. I do know that the Iconics got screwed over yet again. I mean, for God's sake, these are your longest reigning women's tag team champions. They ended an undefeated streak. They got new merch, and this is the way that you treat them.
Okay. I wish I didn't say anything.
At least nothing. If nothing else, at least we got to see Becky Lynch win, which it's not quite as bad as say Lana or Naomi being the Iconics. And not only that, but we got to see Becky Lynch debut her new finisher, the Uranagi.
Which, not to hurt feelings or anything, looks like shit.
That blew.
I'm sure it's fine.
I know there's extenuating circumstances of why this one time maybe is the exception to the rule, but dear God, don't do this. Like, no.
I've been replaced.
I'm a super friend. You're anybody calls you friend and you like perk up.
I'm lonely. It's fine. I will say but you know what, Matt? You actually led to something here after all that incessant rambling.
Incessant rambling, sir. Was I not speaking the truth?
Well, everyone has a different truth.
Yes. Yeah, I knew that's what you were going to say. Yes. The answer is yes.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
Exactly. I wonder why that doesn't hold up in court. Am I the only one who's actually kind of interested in where they're taking Becky and Nikki?
And absolutely not. I'm 100% here for that. It's hey, Nikki Cross.
I mean, and also it puts together two women who I've wanted to see work together for some time now, Becky and Nikki Cross. Because
I guess we have to include Becky in the
a
conversation.
months ago.
Not a feud though. That was a match.
But you wanted to say you said you wanted to see them work together, and they worked together on SmackDown.
I'm talking in a consistent manner, sir. And you know what? When we can't forget Alexa in this mix. So
of course we can.
I knew you would say it. I knew you would say it.
I had my fist already clenched, like I dare him to say, like because I knew it was coming.
The fact that this is one of the oldest stories in wrestling: the student and the teacher. Becky showing Nikki the ropes and being a mentor and that kind of thing. And then there's this, Alexis hanging out there in the ether. What role is she going to play? What is Nikki going to try to double cross Becky for the belt? To me, this is one of the most subtle freaking speak English. Subtly.
We know.
It's a classic Maven Al Snow story, I guess you could say.
There are way better examples.
Oh
my God.
Son of a I'm gonna close the car door on my hand because it's less painful than what you just said.
And if they're going to do the storyline like that, then they're going to have to do it the way he wants it to be done.
And he did the clap. And he did the clap with it.
Yep.
I love how Nikki Cross looks at the title like my precious.
Briefly.
My precious.
She does, but she does it briefly.
Yes, but it was long enough to you get what I'm like.
Mm-hmm.
I've got everybody fooled, but just for this split second, that's my precious. Like,
And I said this earlier. I think they are considering putting the belt on Nikki. I don't think it's going to be at Stomping Grounds. I think Becky's going to work through Lacey. But coming to the other side of Stomping Grounds,
you
I,
think she's gonna be champ before 2020?
yeah, I think Nikki Cross will be champion before 2019 is out.
I want it.
I want it too.
Well, give us what we want. Give
Give
us
us
what
what
we.
we want.
We're the authority. Can't we book that shit?
I know, right? And the little picture from social media with Nikki, like hanging on to Becky's arm and has that wild look in her eye, and Becky just looking down on her like, "What is this woman doing?" It's interesting. It's different.
Somebody photoshopped. I'm not gonna look for it right now. We all know the Conor McGregor press conference. Of, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Somebody photoshopped Becky as Connor, and who the fuck is this girl?
I love it. So, and and by the way, and again, this is another match, and I hate to say it again because I bring it up every time they wrestle. I saw Billy Kay unable to do a side headlock takeover to
Yeah.
take the move. If you
What,
cannot take
what kind of
a,
mess are you talking?
if you can't successfully take a side headlock takeover, one of the beginning simple moves in wrestling,
He
we
learned that
have
on
a
like
problem.
day 2 of
It's
wrestling
part
camp.
of her gimmick.
No, it's not.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not.
Wrestling
This was
101 and being shitty at it can't be a part of the gimmick. It doesn't make rational sense.
Matt, I've stood by your side a lot in this argument. A lot. I can't stand by you on this one. She just didn't take it. It wasn't about the gimmick. This was just
Nikki took her over on that side headlock takeover, and Billy landed on Nikki, and I went, "Oh my god, that! What do I do with that?" The
I mean, Nikki Cross doesn't know her own strength.
sir. What?
I got nothing on that. Bet
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is why we put off talking about WWE for so long.
um Peyton and Billy look like they're working in slow mo.
Sir,
So
now you take that Peyton shit back. Just take
Peyton
it back
looked
right,
kind of slow too.
sir.
Because
The
they are not being allowed to show what they can do.
If there were any two women in the company that the WWE would want those two to show out against and have the ability to, besides Bailey and Sasha, it'd be Becky and Nikki for as long as those two have been in the business. It, I
I, I
understand that.
I'm gonna crush Matt's feelings, and I don't mean to, and um, but it's literally to the point where, and I get what you're saying about Peyton, and I don't really dispute that to some degree. Um, but Bill is really holding Peyton back, right as it is right now. Like they're in ring stuff like that. Their promos and stuff, or but yeah,
The Iconics as they stand, even as champions, feel no better than a mid card act. And
Can we just get Tegan and Dakota as a
Please,
surprise?
please. I want
So,
Tegan and Dakota back.
well, not just back, but a
There's no
surprise.
way to treat Warren and Fran tag team champions.
There are issues with the Iconics. I don't know what they are. They could be agenting,
They're being held
but
back.
by
That's exactly what
who?
it is.
By who? I
Yeah.
understand they're not being.
System, man. By the machine, man.
Oh, so Becky's holding them back, and
I
Brian
don't know what the.
Cage.
I didn't say the man. I did not say the man.
I'm sorry. Do I have
Sounded like you
cotton in
said.
my ears?
It sounded like you said the man and the machine, so that's why I said Becky
I
Lynch and
said
Brian Cage.
system. I said the machine.
So Brian
Yeah,
Cage.
you said the man.
I
You
did
said
not
the
say
man.
the
Another thing I liked coming out of this Raw again.
Was
Um,
that when it ended?
that Firefly Funhouse.
Of course.
Bray needs to work though. We're into week four
Yeah.
or five. I understand building to something, but Bray needs to
We're
work.
we're at the point of the vignettes aren't doing it by themselves any longer. Um,
Although I love the idea of the first guest in the Firefly Funhouse being Aleister Black.
yes, that was fun.
More, I want some of that, and I want Bray and Aleister to work. I don't know who gets that W, but I would like to see them work. But clock's ticking on the vignettes. We need to see Bray get in the ring.
What about Boom Beast Brock?
WWE took something that was genuine and off the cuff and had to make it theirs.
Oh, I brought that up for a reason. Oh, like something we mentioned earlier.
You mean like taking something that the fans like and having to turn it into something the company wants?
Yep, and running into the ground.
That's what they're
This
going to do.
this was still fun.
It
Don't get me
was
wrong.
fun. Brock with the personality is better than Brock with no personality.
And the whole like this whole thing was fun. He doesn't know how Money in the Bank contract works.
Because he
He
doesn't watch the product.
he doesn't know anything about what's going on. Heyman has to explain it to him. Like this was fun, but I can also see this quickly wearing out its welcome.
They put little fake stickers, speakers on the back of the briefcase. They again, this is funny. This is fun, but like you said, they will eventually run this into the ground.
Yes. Like he
Although,
did he reminded me he did a dance that um um it wasn't quite mariachi band dance, but it was at least Brock doing some personality and not just standing there where Paul talks it why Brock turns purple by just standing there.
Brock gets
Um,
blowed up getting into the ring.
so it was something different. And Seth the entire time thinking, "Don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh,
What
do
did
not."
what do I do? What did I do to deserve this?
But if
Although it
I
was
had,
great when Brock hit Heyman with the contract.
yes,
He's like, "How long? A year? Whack!"
yeah. Which if you're gonna put the contract on Brock, I don't agree with it, but doing it like this is at least worked.
It's better than the same Heyman promo, and like you said, Brock standing there. So Brock with personality, I'm all for. Uh,
Yeah,
um,
I'll put it this way: like as pissed off as I was after those other 7 men killed themselves and put on a 5-star ladder match, and Brock music hits and he comes and grabs the briefcase. As pissed off as I was when that happened, the following 2 weeks of Boombox, now Beastbox Brock, say that 3 times fast. Um,
That.
you
shit.
get it. You get it. AA gets it. Um, has kind of lessened that blow. if that makes sense. Like, okay,
Hmm.
it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and again, that this is quickly going to run its course. So here we go. But at least it's been somewhat entertaining, the Raws, and he's been on the Raw since he won it. So there's also that factor of he didn't just win it and go away for Lord knows how long. So I went from like completely pissed to pissed, but not so pissed, and actually having fun during his segments.
Yeah. I know, Matt, you're probably still not a fan of Brock with the
No.
briefcase.
I'm not a fan of it. It just lessens the blow a little bit.
Yeah. But you brought up that ladder match, and one of the participants in that match actually had a match on Monday, and they tore it up. Cesaro versus Ricochet. That was a hellacious match.
It sure was. That was a great match.
Can
And
I
go ahead.
can I has more, please?
Yeah, Cesaro's strength and great wrestling ability, Ricochet's like low key strength and flippy stuff, like it just all meshes well together.
What does Promociones Dorado have anything to do with
Oh.
it?
And I know we have a lot of friends that listen. I don't like calling them listeners, or if you're listening to us, you're a friend. We have a lot of friends that get the Hulu version, and that match got cut out of the Hulu version
Why are you cutting that match?
because the Hulu version, and I tried explaining this to a couple of people in that forum. Um, the Hulu version is more focused on the continuing storylines versus a great match
But I
because
would
they're looking at it like if you're watching Raw on
Hulu.
Hulu, you're watching a weekly TV show and you want to see the stories progress more than this all of a sudden pretty much random great match. One of the things I like about SmackDown, and I've been asking for a long time, but I see why it's not feasible that they put all of Raw on Hulu like they do SmackDown. But when you have to cut something, and most of Raw was progressing storylines, good or bad, and except for this one match that happened to be the highlight of the night, that it's going to get cut.
Yeah. Um, there were a couple other things from this show that I honestly wanted to kind of highlight, but for some reason I can't remember them.
Oh,
Um,
you're not old enough to use mine and AA's excuse.
I'm old, guys.
You are not old.
We got one major complaint of this show, and let's be fair to it. It was a Memorial Day show,
Yes.
so it wasn't like they were coming to the finish line at their best. Unfortunately, you can say that for non-holiday shows too. Um, does anybody know what the number 47 has in significance with this Monday Night Raw? Anybody want to take a guess?
No.
Thank you for being honest. Um, the first 47 minutes of this episode of Monday Night Raw had no wrestling.
Ah,
They
thank you,
went
thank you, Kane A Knight.
they went almost the entire first hour with no wrestling.
Yes, not a single wrestling match.
That is a problem. And this happened a couple weeks ago when they went what, the first 20 minutes?
20, 25. They went a while.
And here they are again, no
This
wrestling.
goes back to the Moxley stuff and how Vince sees it's he doesn't own a wrestling company.
He
He
owns an
owns
entertainment company.
yes. Did you just do that one more again? One more again.
Settle down there,
One more
JYD.
time. Dun, 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 smoking in the boys' room.
Oh my god.
And we're
Smoking in the
smoking in the
boys'
boys'
room.
room.
Hey, don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
Smoking in and out in school. Dun-dun.
Wish I could smoke here. I'm not talking about cigarettes.
Checking
Yeah.
out the hall, making sure the coast is clear. Nah, there ain't nobody here. But my
Sir.
buddies.
Sir.
I'm gonna have to.
Time.
I'm gonna have to either start doubling up my medicine before we go live, or ask my doctor if I can get something stronger. Because I can't. I just.
Are you
Uh,
strong enough?
oh sweet
Tell me,
Lord.
are you strong enough?
I'm afraid to even speak now.
Um. Do
Don't
we have a
speak.
show?
I know
Is
just what you're thinking.
I'm scared.
I need an adult. Hold me, Seymour. Hold me.
Feed me, Seymour. Feed me.
What were you saying there, Ma?
More.
God bless it. Shut up,
Um.
Superintendent Chalmers.
The show we're not gonna talk about or do previews on. Is that this weekend or next weekend?
Uh, uh, isn't that next weekend?
It's next weekend.
Okay.
I can't. I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
By the way, did you hear the funny little blurb about that?
No.
The WWE is not allowing their announcers to mention the name Saudi Arabia. They can only refer it to as Jeddah or Super Showdown.
I thought we had an agreement that we weren't gonna.
I just had to get that little piece of news out there. So even the company is like, we want to totally ignore this, but we're still going.
And well, if we're talking about Raw real quick, and that show, and somebody that's not going to the show, and what the fuck did I just watch segment? Sami Zayn does a promo in an electric chair. Well, first off, what? And Sammy also brings up AEW on Monday Night Raw, and there's conflicting reports if that was scripted, if Vince is pissed about it, if Sammy went rogue. But leaving the AEW, you could have asked me about AEW. What the is Sammy in the
And
electric chair?
why? Why is
Why?
that segment called the electric chair?
Why? I missed half a
I
Raw
mean,
last week, and all of a sudden,
to be fair, at least Abdullah the Butcher wasn't in it this time.
Oh,
we don't.
we don't speak of that.
That's like that like something else we don't mention,
Tonight,
and then it was
special attraction. It's the Chamber of Horrors match.
Oh God. Oh God, please make it go away.
what about the dog pound match, sir?
What about the Kennel from Hell match?
The kennel from hell. Oh my God. Remember what they say, kids. Never work with children or animals.
Sir?
See, Adam, that is grade A, 100%.
But
Pepper.
apparently we can podcast with them.
You don't like pepper, Adam? You don't like the way pepper tastes? Tastes like chicken.
He fed him his dog.
Oh God.
Oh boy, don't you remember the Attitude Era and how much you loved it?
I need this upcoming week break. I wish it was under different circumstances, but I could definitely use a week from one or two of you guys.
It's quite a shame. I would say it's quite a shame that we're taking next week off. Because could be quite fun. Talk about the grapplers, as it were. You know what I mean?
That
Oh, when
would
he
be
does
worst.
when he has the accents on his, it just takes it from I wish I was in the Kennel from Hell match. So, Candace,
um,
Candace, here's the keys. Run me over, please. It'd be quicker. It'd be quicker.
As Mox would say, I am in rare form. All
yeah,
right, really.
blue rare.
Oh God.
Um, I think you were going to make a point about one of the matches that's supposed to be happening in that event, but I don't
No,
remember what it was.
I wasn't gonna make a point about individual match. Just um, that's trying to tie it back into the Hulu thing
Yeah,
and the weekly and the 47-minute long beginning with no wrestling and yada yada yada. It wasn't about a particular match on that nonsense card or anything.
are you guys enjoying this Sami Zayn?
No.
I was I still kind of am. He seems kind of lost there. Like he's doing like Firefly Funhouse stuff, but live in ring without like the charisma of Bray, if that makes sense.
Let me ask you: do we need the internet troll fan as a character in WWE? Because that's what Sammy's doing. He's being the shit talking internet shit posting internet fan.
It
And
His gimmick, that of an edgelord, I would say.
why are you? I'm not even gonna ask.
hey
Um,
hey, please put us out of our misery and mute him.
No,
Please.
I'm enjoying it.
what
Oh,
are?
you would.
Um,
She,
to,
Adam,
to
she
have.
loves seeing us just
Yeah, I
tortured.
know. To see a guy whose job. Why would I continue to watch a guy on television tell me that I shouldn't be watching this on television because if I am, I'm an idiot?
And there's a degree there that's fun.
I think we're past that degree.
That's what I was trying to say when you asked the question. Um, like it started off well. This Monday might have been my uh. Okay, you run it into the ground. Speaking of recurring themes, like last night, recurring theme. You switch it up a little bit and like maybe the electric chair stuff like don't do. It was cool at first when he came back and the internet troll calling basically other internet trolls and that whole thing that happens on wrestling Twitter and whatnot. It worked for a little bit, but it's kind of dying out for me, and I don't want to say he needs to switch everything up, just like okay, let's move on with this, like let's progress it a little bit more without the
Yeah,
electric chair stuff, please.
they and another little thing that I'm already kind of. Why are we going to the Dolph well?
But what, damn it, I was hoping nobody would bring that up. Oh,
Why Dolph? Why?
who's the number one contender for the Universal Championship, Rice?
Oh yeah, Baron Corbin. What did
Why?
I? What did I say 2 weeks ago?
What the fuck did I do so bad in my life that Dolph Ziggler, and I like Baron, this isn't a, he shouldn't be in this spot right now. What did I'm a good person. I know I've done some wrong in my life. I've never killed anybody. I've, I've, I haven't done that wrong to have Dolph being on my TV, period. And Baron Corbin being the number one contender for the Universal Championship. I'm Baron.
I
Mm,
told you guys a couple weeks back that be prepared for Baron Corbin to get a Universal title program, and here we are. And oh, by the way, they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with this match. Was it a regular Fatal 4-Way? Was it elimination? Not even they knew.
yeah, this was it was.
Until afterward, when it was reported they changed it to a regular Fatal 4-Way, so not three people didn't have to take a pin to end the match. Well, if you didn't want three people to take a pin, why did you book a Fatal 4-Way to begin with?
Mm. And again, don't
So,
get me wrong. Like I like Baron Corbin. I liked him a lot better a while back than I do now. But he has no business being in the this picture. Like he's, it's just again running into the ground. Recurring theme.
yeah, do you want to move over to SmackDown?
I'm sure half the fucking roster wants to move over to SmackDown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and women's wrestling. Where you at? Besides the Becky, like what was?
again, they're not utilizing the talent they have. And I understand the Raw Women's Champions division is kind of barren. No pun intended. Um,
Sure, that would be the men. Men are barren.
well, never mind. Um, they could
Please
have.
tell me you got that joke. Please tell me
I
you didn't
did.
get that joke. Okay.
I got it. Um, I'm.
It just now hit you.
No, no.
It was actually a joke slash reference, but
Yeah.
okay.
Um, why is Mickey James sitting in catering when she could be out working? Somebody.
Somebody, anybody?
Dana Brooke. Somebody. Somebody. Call up somebody. I know we just had everyone call it, but if you, it can't just be Becky, Nikki. And I know we're just getting Nikki in this scene, and I'm glad we are. But it just can't be Becky and Nikki in a tag match against the Iconics.
Yeah, that was what I was getting at. I was
It
getting mad a little. I could have said the Iconics too, but except for that, like a 3 hour show. What? And this leads back to earlier of this upcoming show and where they're going. And so right now, the storytelling isn't. There's some storytelling. Don't get me wrong with the women on Raw and SmackDown, but um, the next show up is going to be all men.
yeah, it, and also, and like on SmackDown, they gave us just Bailey, Lacey, and Charlotte.
Did you put the two words together, or were you did you call her just Bailey, or were you saying just Bailey?
Just Bailey, not
Okay.
just okay. Yeah, okay. Um,
Because
but I will
we
say
all know
this:
Dakota Kai is better Bailey. We all know that.
we've this is established and agreed upon. Um, someone's gonna stab us for saying that.
Oh, and I bet that crazy motherfucker will find us.
Um, let me say this: even though they only gave us that, I think they have finally figured out how to present Bailey.
Absolutely. Real quick, I didn't realize we were transitioning that quick into SmackDown. Final thoughts on Raw. Uh, some fun, some bad, mediocre show.
Yeah,
Um,
it was a
it,
holiday
it-
show.
yeah, it was what it was. And I hate that phrase. You guys know that. Um, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't spectacular either. The fun parts outweighed. Well, I'd give it a C, like an A and a F, average out to a C. So I'll give it a
Yeah.
C. Okay,
Please don't
moving on.
ever not have wrestling in the first almost full hour of your show. Don't let that happen again. Uh, that's a killer, but beside the point. So we
I'm a killer,
move
but don't push me. Oh,
uh,
sorry,
over to SmackDown.
Matt. Did you watch SmackDown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why don't you lead us off? What did you like from this Tuesday SmackDown?
How long was your Memorial Day, sir?
Dude, I was so wait. I can't tell you that. That's against the law. Um,
Um,
AA and I know how trash you were Sunday.
if you can't remember it.
So SmackDown was that interesting that you have to try to remember it.
Nobody got the joke.
I didn't hear you. I was trying to make fun of Rice.
usually do.
Well, AA and I know Sunday night how you were.
It
So
wasn't Sunday. It was Saturday. I was
was it oh, same difference.
SATURDAY.
DAY
Night.
night.
Son of a bitch.
So Matt,
Saturday
what
night.
are your thoughts?
Saturday night.
Oh God, no! Please
I
stop.
haven't heard that song in a long time.
Um, your initial thoughts on this past Tuesday's SmackDown?
Even though there was a distinct lack of Iconics and Becky Lynch, I thought it was a pretty good show for the most part. I did like sort of the overarching arc with R-Truth and the 24/7 title and all that stuff. I know a lot of people were kind of down on Shane McMahon, having all of the screen time. Honestly, I like it. I honestly like this feud with Roman and Shane and Elias and Drew. I honestly like it.
Does it have to take up both shows though?
I don't think it should have to take up both shows, but I am enjoying it.
Because on Raw they had Shane work
Yeah.
Roman's cousin, Lance and
And,
Elias.
yeah, I saw that Lance Anawa appeared on there, which is really cool. I mean, it kind of sucks that he was used as a jobber because anybody who's seen him in MLW knows that he can work. He can.
Yeah. And,
But
You'd be
I
hard
get
pressed to name a
used that
Anoia that
way.
can't work.
It did the job that it needed to do.
and then here on SmackDown, they're continuing Roman and Shane and all that, and it's just why am I being subjected to Shane McMahon in 2019?
Again, that goes back to I know I've done some
Would you
wrong in my
rather?
life.
That's the question.
What was that?
I'd have Shane.
There are better ways to use your time.
Yeah,
Shane McMahon
I
isn't
agree
one
it
of them.
should be on only one show, but at the same time, I
I
am.
thought he was playing PlayStation. Sorry.
I mean,
Checking on
he
checking
is
on the patients.
pretty credible again. It only took them, what, 2 years, give or take, but they are doing that. For me, I
But
thought it's a bit too little, too late. I think they should have built her up a little bit more. But
but
it is cool to see Mandy Rose getting a win for her magazine. That was pretty cool.
oh god damn.
Did not like
Oh,
that, but
oh
let me say this. I
I
like
know
the
that Matt DSM did not like Carmella losing, but it is what it is, I suppose.
Carmella roasted Manny Rose
on
on
Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, I like here.
All just for those that don't know, I'm not going to listen, but Carmella listed all of her accomplishments since being up on the main roster, and she actually subtweeted Mandy on this, and
She actually replied to Mandy.
that's a subtweeted reply. I'm not a millennial, I don't know all the phrasing, but and said, listed her accomplishments, and then said, and you got the cover of a magazine. Congratulations. But anyway, whoever was speaking, continue.
Um, I like that we're getting a legitimate mid card women's feud.
We've been
Wow.
begging forever.
Yep, and they're giving it to us here. Um, Carmella and Mandy, I think, can go out and work a little bit. They're not going to have the best match, but as far as the mid card thing, that's perfectly fine. And honestly, they both need to work a little more work in ring, so I'm totally cool with it.
And
Yeah,
distance, and they're making it more than just we need to fill out some time. Like we legit have like a feud brewing. Like
we've,
we might get it might be on the pre-show, but it will lead up to a pay-per-view match.
there's a little characterization here. There's a little story here, like jealousy and these kind of things, and you've. So I liked what they're doing, and
Yeah.
also Mandy looks good in red, and that's all I'm going to say.
So,
Um,
oink oink.
I know what I am. Um. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, happy birthday, Larry Steve.
Yeah.
Um, he turned 2, and he's big as hell.
He's bigger than Alexa now.
Yeah,
He's been bigger than Alexa, but he's almost as
he's
big as
going to eat her. He's going to eat her. That's how
sir.
this ends.
Sir, we've had this conversation. You're not supposed to say that.
Um, I wanted to say something else about SmackDown. Shit. The 24/7 title stuff.
I'm just gonna flat out say, um, truth. You lost it too soon, man. You lost it too soon.
He got it back though.
Yeah, I get that, but oh. Although on the flip side of that, since as long as I've been in that forum, there was only like two of us that liked Elias Sampson, now just known as Elias, and would get shit on every day for liking Elias back in the NXT
Oh, it's
days.
awesome.
Elias has won his first championship in WWE.
Kind of wish it wasn't the 24/7 belt,
A
but I'll
champion.
take what I can get.
So with the Browns, sir, if the Browns said you could have this many, they would take it.
I resent
Do
that
you,
remark.
do you want the Super Bowl? You're not getting the Super Bowl. Do you want the AFC champ? You're not getting the Lamar Hunt Trophy. Do you want most improved team of the year? Okay, you can have that.
I hate you.
They am I wrong?
I don't want to talk about it.
Because I'm and not like Matt just picks and chooses his Browns.
I like how they work the 24/7 title into the Roman stuff. I'm sorry. Um,
Good. Hello? I can't. Hello? Hello?
Sorry, I tried to mute and I missed.
Hello?
Stop.
Hello?
I hate you.
Me you're looking for?
Hello?
Well, since you can't hear me, I'm going to now extol all the virtues of Bud Adams. Um,
You God bless you, by the way.
thank you. He heard
I
that.
thought I sneezed loud. I thought I sneezed loud. Holy
I've
shit.
always had a thing with sneezing. I'm odd. I'm odd
I
about it.
have to. I,
That's a
you've
weird
heard me
bit to
sneeze.
have, but I'm not judging.
Oh, God.
I
Complete
have
sidebar.
nothing.
You can't go off rails if we never had rails.
Right.
But if I'm around Morris and I sneeze, I Sheboygan. Just because
Um,
I sneeze so loud, like if I actually try to say a word, it's not so loud. I sneeze like a female King Kong would sneeze. Like it is such a monstrous sneeze, but it's very high pitched. So if I try saying a word at the end of my sneeze, it, Adam, you've heard me sneeze on
yeah.
Hangouts. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have a pretty sneeze, but that was brutal, dude.
Yeah.
You just won the 24/7 championship.
Woo! Um, I want to know why someone brought this up earlier. Why are we seeing the same 6 or 7 wrestlers around the 24/7 title? Why isn't like everyone after Truth?
Because the 7 stands for the number of people that go after it at one time. Duh.
Stop it. Why isn't Liv Morgan out there trying to get the title?
Thank you.
Why isn't
Take
what?
that a step further. Why the fuck is Liv Morgan not on my TV at all?
Please, I said this today. I would take Liv Morgan in a backstage segment at this point. I want
Whoa,
Liv.
Nelly. That's a bit
Not
too
I did.
TMI.
God damn.
Sorry, that is a totally separate discussion. And yes, now, um, again, why are we getting Liv Morgan in a backstage segment? Why haven't I seen Ember Moon on my television for weeks?
We know why Ruby had, with the
Hard.
so
Tuesday.
where's Sarah Logan?
Is she injured? Is she not? I want confirmation. Um, I hate to fall into the meme here, but give me what I want.
What you
And I
really, really
understand
want?
that's a very selfish, childish way to go about this.
So
But
your normal everyday life. We get it.
yes, I'm a petty motherfucker. Um,
Vince?
not that rich. I'm a
Those
normal. No, I'm a normal petty
motherfuckers said not
motherfucker.
that rich. Like, okay, well, let's start discussing finances. How rich are you?
We don't need to get into that either.
They offered you $1,000 a year. Like, that's a lot of zeros. I'm staying.
They offered me $1,000 a year and all the double mint bubble gum I could want. Um,
Oh, you just did that for the Double Mint Twins joke.
you damn right. Um, Another thing, I kind of wish they would have kept going with Lacey and Charlotte a little longer as an
Yeah.
alliance. I don't know. Did Charlotte jump Lacey or was it vice versa? Because I couldn't tell them apart.
Oh, you did two memes at once.
Yes, I did.
You need to change your avatar right now to the two Spider-Mans facing each other.
But I couldn't tell who they. I couldn't because I need to know what's going on with that. Why did they jump each other? Are we gonna get a triple threat? I don't want a triple threat.
Yeah, please no more multi-women.
Um,
Just a proper feud and it would work, please.
Lacey Evans and Bailey worked on Saturday on SmackDown, and they had a good little match. Bailey looked strong, man. Um, but I think Lacey ended up getting the win by pulling the tights. There's no reason I'm mentioning that for any reason. But
I know.
I'm a son of a bitch.
Yeah, and because I'm a worse son of a bitch, YouTube has that part blurred. By the way,
Well, the company put up still images on their website of it, so I don't want to hear it. Um, there are other. Not a lot really
say
happened
it,
on the SmackDown either.
Matt. What do you think about any other matches or anything that Rice missed? Because Lord knows,
I
with
did.
that kind of education,
All right, box top boy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a
you.
pretty good episode of SmackDown, I thought.
I think it was another just a fine episode of SmackDown.
But on the Bailey thing, real quick. Excuse me. Um, this was the closest we've gotten back to NXT Bailey
Mm-hmm.
than we've seen probably
Since she's
since
been called
Call
up.
Up. Yeah,
Yep. Bailey in NXT worked not just because she was an attraction for the kids.
yeah. It wasn't just because fun,
Hug,
inflatable, pretending to
huggable
be nice.
Bailey.
You heard me
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah, I heard what you said.
Okay. Uh, but yeah, I just had to do it. This was Bailey was a, a cutthroat killer too in NXT Bailey
Bailey in
days.
NXT was a badass warrior.
Yes, a
She went
badass
in
warrior
there.
is a better way of putting it than
She went in there and she had her misgivings and fears, but when it came time to
pull
you
the
know
trigger,
pull the trigger,
hit
what?
somebody with a kendo stick.
Well, she never did that.
I'm
Uh,
saying, but you know what? I was making
I
a
know.
reference.
Yeah. Um, but as Sonya Deville likes to say, hair up, put your hair up and square up. Bailey did that.
Well,
Ev-
she puts her hair to the side,
Yes,
but
true.
same difference.
She never showed fear when came time to do when it came time to go to work.
When it came time to kick ass, she was up for it.
Especially after when she became champion. She was a fighting champion. It didn't matter if she was in the ring with
Yeah,
Alexa, if she was in the ring with Naya or Asuka. She was going in there for a fight. This is as close as we've seen to that Bailey since then, and she's showing that confidence on screen.
for
It
those
isn't
that don't
just
remember, Bailey did not tap to Asuka. Bailey was so badass. She literally passed out a la Stone Cold Steve
it
Austin.
was the Steve Austin Bret Hart finish.
She was so badass she was not gonna tap. She passed out.
If only they did that with somebody else at a pay per view this year, but that's another story.
Boy, you're going to hold on to that, aren't you?
Oh, I am. I am going to hold on to that.
You do that. So I'm happy to see Bailey finally getting this shine because she's earned it, regardless of
Yeah,
why you think why they're doing it. Because I'm of that belief too. I'm going to focus on Bailey because she deserves to have the focus on her. She's
let's don't let's. I know what you're talking about. Let's don't give that credence. Whether we believe it or not. I don't really buy into that. I get it. I don't buy into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy into that credence either, but I
If
guess
he's
that's
gonna do a
my
CTR reference,
sacrifice.
Jesus,
why would you give him ammunition? I see a
Because,
bad
sir,
moon
when we
rising.
are talking about credence, you are no fortunate son.
Damn it! Damn it! He did better than me, and I hate myself for it.
you did Bad Moon Rising, and I was thinking. Speaking of which, Ember, Ember,
Where is
Ember.
she? Bueller? Um, again,
There
we're
was
Okay,
another joke that we could have done with Ryzen, but I'll resist the sinister urge.
yeah, Sinister is the good.
God,
I
So
hate everything. But is there anything you guys wanted to clear with WWE? Because I actually want to get Matt in here to do something for us real quick.
Yes.
Metal Matt, are you up to date on everything going on with Major League Wrestling?
Yes,
well,
I
can
am.
we give
For
AA a
once,
chance to?
for once, I am actually all caught up.
Okay, I need you to sit on that. Allie.
Yo,
No,
Hey,
you didn't watch
sit
it,
on it.
but just and we didn't go match by match, play by play, just from us talking about Raw, SmackDown. Do you miss it? Are you yearning to come back to the USA Network?
no,
That's a
Anything that we talked about that interested you at all? Not just Rice's boring tone, but
I
um, the actual matches and outcomes and anything that, like, oh, I can check that out on YouTube or something. Anything that from Monday or Tuesday that you would want to check out.
nope.
okay.
No, easy enough.
So Metal Matt, what does MLW have going on this weekend?
Well, this past weekend, this past Saturday, they did Fusion, and Contra was all over this. I think they actually shot a fireball into Phoenix. And Promociones Dorado has betrayed Loki.
And they're giving us a match at Fury Road.
Yes, Loki and Ricky Martinez will be going one-on-one this Saturday at Fury Road. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and read you the entire match card for Fury Road 2019 because it is going to be something.
Is John Moxley going to show up? Ooh,
I
too
wish,
soon.
but I
Too
doubt
soon.
it. Should have been MLW, but that's another story. So this
It's
Saturday,
not
Fury
technically
Road,
too
here is
late,
the match
but
card. Tom Lawler, Filthy Tom Lawler, and Devon Ericks against Contra in a Tornado Tag Team match.
I am actually really excited for this match. Um, Contra, or you guys want to see what it takes to get a stable over? This is how you get a stable over. You beat us over the head with it, with them being dominant, and you don't let up. This is how the Riot Squad should have been handled when they got called up,
Mm-hmm. Like
minus the
they
fireballs in
are being
people's
treated
faces.
as a big deal.
Yes.
Like, uh, like I can get like 3 tacos, a chalupa, a drink, and kind of big deal.
Not that kind of big deal, no.
Oh, damn. No
And
buys.
then, and then for the world middleweight title, Teddy Hart against Jimmy Havoc.
That's going to be insane.
Yeah, Natalia's friend usually puts on good matches.
The shade. And Jimmy Havoc typically tries to kill people, so, you know.
Sometimes legitimately.
Mox, any
And
other thoughts on this match?
Besides it being insane, and one of the reasons, like, last night I listed MLW very high on the promotions I keep up with. You know, Vince,
Okay,
this is what I look for in my wrestling sometimes.
continue.
all right, I got a bit distracted there because I saw that AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels got bloodied up by LAX on
You're
TNA on
watching
Pluto
you're
TV.
watching old TNA, aren't you?
Yeah, on Pluto TV.
God, they had such a good thing. Okay, I'll get distracted.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. But anyway, next match, Davey Boy Smith Jr. against everybody's favorite heel nowadays for some inexplicable reason, MJF.
Fuck MJF. obligatory fuck MJF. Very first episode of this podcast, and I will say it, and I will continue. I just have to fuck MJF.
Uh,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. MJF, man, Matt, you better enjoy him while you have him, because he will be gone here in the next few months.
Stop. No. Come back.
I can feel your desire. Continue.
No, he said that in the meme. How the meme is supposed to be said. No, stop.
Come
Please come
back.
back.
What's
Kudos on that
next?
one, Matt.
Next match, Austin Aries makes his MLW debut against Adam Brooks.
Aries goes
It,
over, and I'm interested to see how this experiment works.
yeah, Phil changed his first name, or what are we doing?
No, not. Oh God.
Matt has seriously, like, my mind is gone.
I have warped your fragile little mind.
There
Fragile
you
is a good
go.
way of put it.
I'm old enough to be your dad, but yeah, it's your fault. Actually, and our kids then fuck your mind up.
Please continue.
So next match, Sammy Callahan versus Mance Warner in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Someone's gonna die.
Oh yeah, somebody's going off the balcony.
They shouldn't, but someone's gonna die.
And for the National Championship Finals, Alex Hammerstone versus Brian Pillman Jr.
They've built this correctly,
Yes, absolutely.
and I expect
Okay,
Hammerstone to come out the victor.
who's built it better, this feud or Brian Pillman Jr.'s mullet? Like,
The mullet over
Honestly,
everything.
dude, honestly, Brian Pillman Jr. looks like freaking 90s era Toby Keith.
How about
so
2000 era Blake Shelton?
A little, yeah, but like, I don't know. For me, I was instantly reminded of Toby Keith for some reason. I don't know why. The 90s era Toby Keith. I guess Brian Pillman Jr. should have been a cowboy. He should have learned the rope and ride.
Oh God.
you brought it upon yourself, sir.
I don't want it.
And then we have Flamita versus Ray Orris.
By the way, big news: Flamita signed with MLW, so this won't be the only time you see him. Just wanted to throw that out there. Please continue.
And then finally, we have Loki versus Ricky Martinez.
Classic faction breaks up. They could fight. So, um, this is a pretty decent card. A lot of stuff I'm looking forward to,
Yeah, it
and
should
I'm
be a
happy that
good show.
it's going to be on TV.
It will be live this Friday, I think, or Saturday.
It's typically Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be Saturday, June 1st. Yeah, so it's gonna be Saturday.
Bada book, bada boom.
Oh, if you, oh, she missed because she doesn't watch. If she would have said by the Brock, by the boom.
Bada Brock, bada boom.
Bada book, bada boom.
And not only that, but this Saturday on the Live Fury Road special, Filthy Tom Lawler will reveal his next title fight.
I don't even know what the hell's going on my Twitter. I I'm gonna leave that to later after we're off air.
I've been kind of following it. It's nuts. Um, looking forward to the show. We've all said it at one point or another. MLW puts on the best televised wrestling on the country right now.
Absolutely.
I would say so, yeah.
So Fury Road, I'm hoping a lot of people tune in, watch. Um, they're trying to make Contra Unit stars.
Unfortunately,
And
I'm going to be working this Saturday, so I won't be able to watch it live, but I will DVR it.
But are you gonna be working 9 to 5? What?
why?
What a way
Stop
to
Now,
it.
make a
actually, I'm going to be
living,
working
barely
2 p.m. to
getting
9
by. So taking, no giving.
Or are you working for the weekend? Oh no, you're gonna be working on the weekend.
Working for a living and a working, taking what they're giving, 'cause I'm working for a living.
Don't ever do that again.
You brought it on
D-
yourself.
Sir, do you see how everybody else just shut the fuck up real quick? That's
No,
because
we
they're
wanted to hear. We were listening.
no. You're being
Yes.
polite, AA.
And
You're
you're
being
being a
polite.
hater.
Hating on my shit.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you too. I hate everything about you.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. I'm out.
I'm out. Uh, thank you for running down the MLW card, Matt. Allie, is there anything from RMP you want to spotlight?
Well, this Thursday, tomorrow, they're doing Supercharged 5. So there'll be some title matches on the card.
Noise.
And I will be watching it because I'll be off the road by the time it starts. And I am taking my computer with me so I can watch it.
Nice.
Nice, yeah.
For those that don't know, Supercharged is kind of like their pay-per-view event. You can still watch it live on Twitch, but it's they do charged every Thursday. Supercharged is their big event.
And then their big event, which is, you could
That
call
Raw.
it their WrestleMania, Milestone 9,
Yes.
is happening June 30th. And I've got tickets to go.
I've got a ticket. I've got a ticket.
2 tickets to paradise. Sorry.
Good God. Matt, seriously, you have destroyed us all. Anytime anybody says anything, we need to come up with a song or a pun, like right up. And poor, you know, Rice is.
I'm just a
I don't.
simple man.
Oh no 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 no
you know
no no
how
no
Rice
no!
is. You know how Rice is. Everything is gravy, baby.
I thought he was about to do the Simple Man song.
I was kind of hoping
Oh,
someone would
I,
pick up
I
on
know
it.
what it is. I just can't remember how exactly it goes.
oh, thank God! Don't look it up.
I'm
Don't
just
look
a
it up.
simple. Yeah, I think I might remember now. I think I might
Simple
remember
kind
now.
of man.
Just a simple kind of man. I remember. I remember that now.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
He didn't go any further, but he remembers. A little piece of info just dropping. For those who are interested, advance tickets for StarCast 3 in Chicago, Illinois have gone on
Whoa,
sale.
whoa, 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 whoa! Did you enunciate the S?
I did.
How dare you?
I'm an ass, I know.
I was born in Illinois.
Illinois, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For all those offended, I'm sorry. Um, advance tickets for StarCast 3 have gone on sale. For their basically, like I said, advanced uh, tiers, platinum and gold, bracelets as they're calling them. And things range from $29 to $249. And it will be at the Hyatt Regency Schaumburg in Chicago.
Why are you
Well,
plugging a t-shirt company on a wrestling podcast?
sir, they ran an event. They're no longer a t-shirt company. Um, for those also interested who were planning on going to AEW's kind of event, Fighter Fest, and were wanting to see Pac, he has been pulled from that as well.
Yep.
I don't know if he's ever going to work for this
Man, that
company.
sucks because I was really wanting to see X Pac.
Sir, how you don't? How could you root for? You don't. X Pac over six. I mean,
Make some noise!
six is I mean, uh, y- six is where it's at. X Pac was just. I mean, the 1, 2, 3 kids better than X Pac. I mean, come on.
Now, let's not get too carried away. X Pac did draw a lot of. I'm sorry.
A lot of you son of a
Scratch number.
you.
Got a lot of heat.
Drew a lot of Adam Rice heat.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Um, guys, it being 12 o'clock midnight on my Eastern, is there any other wrestling you wanted to cover?
Yeah.
Like,
Um. Things that once you hang up, I can discuss. Yeah, there's
you
sadly, and I know I've got to get to, but yeah, time flies when you're.
Having fun.
sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
we'll go with that. Yeah, fun,
I even stayed awake.
and
two
you
nights in
still
a row. 2 nights in a row, everybody. We're on a roll.
and doesn't sound drowsy at all.
That's because Matt's singing kept her awake.
Matt Singer, Matt
Singer,
Singer, Matt Singer is gonna be. I'm gonna make a return to the ring, and my name's gonna be Matt Singer.
shut up.
Shut up, just shut up, shut up, just yeah. But there's the fucking Matt has just
Okay, I have to. You guys know we let off the show with a PSA about Rachel Ellering being having a car accident with a drunk driver. I have to pass on this little funny note, even though that's really not a funny situation. Uh, one of the NXT referees, Jessica Carr,
oh
um, replied, "Oh no," with a big red heart, and Cassius owner replied, "No, Jess, it wasn't me."
damn.
Okay, that's a good note there.
That's not making light of the situation, but yeah, that was.
Uh,
Oh no! No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
and I do want to kind of say,
I was waiting for Matt to do the shake. It wasn't me. Caught me on the kitchen. Wasn't me.
stop it. That song is not appropriate for some of our viewers, like Zeb. Um,
Well, he can. I don't even think he. Never mind. Go ahead.
and also for those who are aware, the middle of our country and the Midwest have been dealing with some severe weather. I know Mox has had several tornado warnings happen in his area.
And tornadoes.
Uh,
Just
and
tonight.
tornadoes.
Um, Nothing has come about it. I think it's headed just north of us through Oklahoma, Arkansas, northeast Texas. I think we're gonna miss the brunt of this one.
But earlier this week, there were 3 tornadoes that touched down in my home state. Actually, near the area where I was born. I was born and spent the first few years out of my life a little ways outside of Dayton, Ohio, and Dayton got hit. Um, and in the damage, we lost one of the old great buildings of pro wrestling's past. Hera Arena, which was the local
Oh,
arena, um, was damaged in the tornadoes. Parts of the roof were torn off, those kind of things. The building hasn't been in use for a few years, but there is worry that they will have to demolish the building.
oh no.
For those who aren't aware of the territory, of some of the parts of the territory, we all hear about Crockett in Texas and Mid South and um, AWA. Um, you never really hear about my home state of Ohio. Well, that's because it was a part of the original Sheik's territory.
Yes.
And the Sheik used to run events every the Sheik used to run events every other Monday in Hera Arena outside of Dayton. The building opened up in 1964, and the very next year, the Sheik ran his first event in the building. The main event was Bobo Brazil versus the Sheik. And ever since that time, wrestling had a place in the building. When the Sheik's territory died out, Georgia Championship Wrestling's B show, one of their B towns was Dayton in Hera Arena.
Yes.
Hera Arena even got to see an NWA World Title match between Ric Flair and Paul Orndorff.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
WWE ran house shows there. WCW ran the Great American Bash and Sold Out from Hera Arena. There were 2 ECW events, 2 Heat Waves, 98 and 99. TNA ran an event out of there. Ring of Honor ran an event out of there. And that was kind of the last time wrestling ran in the building. Another piece of sports history. Hera Arena is where Wayne Gretzky played his very first professional hockey game back in 1978. This is a little piece of wrestling history
Yeah.
that we're probably going to end up losing.
That's sad, man. First and foremost, that's to everybody affected.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the wrestling venue, um, it if you think all the venues, you think Cow Palace, Sportatorium, Gillies, whoever was,
Greensboro Coliseum,
yeah,
the Norfolk Scope, um, Mid South Coliseum in Memphis. Um,
but
the
it
list goes on.
The list
Everywhere.
goes on.
Oh God.
and on and
And
on and
on and
on.
on. But every little piece, every little area has their building, has their space. And Mid South Coliseum isn't an arena anymore. Um, some of the sportatorium is gone.
Yeah, and that was what I was trying to relay to you. When we lost the Sportatorium, um, from my region to your region, as far as the wrestling aspect goes, it's very similar to like feelings of, even if you, I don't know if you ever went there or anything.
I was a child and wrestling was kind of not coming. You know, they ran in Dayton every once in a while, but Hare Arena only had 5,500 seats. They
Yeah,
could have an additional. They could seat about 7,000 people in there. Um, but it was an old barn. That's what it was. There wasn't
yeah,
anything to it. Like the Sportatorium. There wasn't anything to the Sportatorium.
yeah. It was literally it, it was four walls and a roof.
And
Like,
that's what this was. I didn't really get a chance to go there. I didn't live in the area long enough to. But this is just one of those things when you lose it, it sucks
yeah,
because you don't get it back. They they don't run the Cow Palace anymore. They don't, you know,
New
the
Japan were in the Cow Palace.
first time I feel think wrestling's been in the Cow Palace, it feels like forever. Mainstream wrestling.
Right. Um, but all that aside, first and foremost, sorry. As you guys know, we down here deal with a lot of that weather too. Um, shit. The Oklahoma City town that got hit again. But yeah, when you lose something that, even if you never went to watch wrestling, you know it's a historical reference to, if
Mhm.
nothing else, wrestling.
It was
Um,
that building was also the first show the Rolling Stones ever played in the United States was in that building, and it might be gone.
yeah,
So I hope it doesn't happen. But you know, things weren't trending in a good direction for that building anyway. But you just hate to see it go out like that. So I just kind of wanted to give a little soliloquy for one of my areas. You know, you don't think of when you think of Ohio, you don't think of wrestling like you do the Carolinas or Florida or Georgia or Texas. Mid you don't do it. You don't.
yeah,
But this was our little piece of history, and I hope they're able to save it. But we'll just have to wait and see. And with that, I don't know what you guys want to do, but I think I'm all talked out.
yeah. I'm gonna have to. Hey, you want to take us out?
Yeah, I can take us out. Where can they find you, Adam?
Now I'm kind of worried if she's going to come and try to office or something.
like I need address, zip code.
You guys can find me at PWFans01 on Twitter and at Cageside Seeds in the daily and the nightly. Just want to send out a reminder to everyone listening. We would not be here next week due to circumstances beyond our control. Uh, so, as always, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Address, sir. Address.
Um, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Uh,
You're that jackass.
no, but if, I mean, if I'm not going to make that joke, I'm not going to make that joke. That's how I get fired.
Yeah, I set you up because I'm trying.
I know.
If you get fired, you have more free time to podcast.
Yeah. Mox, where can they find you?
On Twitter at fireman6809 and Twitch Mox underscore VWP.
And what about you, Matt?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at MemApp15 and also on the KHC on the daily and the nightly. And this Friday, oh, it's Friday night.
It's Friday. It's Friday. I got Rebecca Black stuck in your head, and I'm not ashamed of it.
Finally, Friday. Free and clear. Got my motor running for a wild week. Sorry.
Good God.
Whoa, Nelly.
It's getting
Okay.
hot in here.
Oh no. Okay, we need to stop there. Anything else you want to add, Micro Machines guy?
But yeah, this Friday night, me and Angel will be talking about Taboo Tuesday 2004, as well as SmackDown vs. Raw on Ruthless Aggression Era podcast. So definitely check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And of course, our fearless leader, Miss Allie. Where can the people find you?
Well, on the bird thing, you can find me at Lady Shauna, and at Twitch, you can find me at Violent Wrestling Podcast, no G.
If that's all, Miss Allie, take us home.
Good night, everybody.
Peace,
Love,
happiness,
rock and roll.
sex.